This really happened. The Catholic Church once had two popes at the same time, and for nearly 30 years they both claimed to be the one true leader of the Church. What caused this spiritual civil war, and how did it almost tear the Church in two? In 1378, a papal election didn't just pick a new leader, it nearly shattered the Catholic Church forever. Most people think the Church has always had one pope, chosen peacefully behind closed doors. But once, there were two men who both claimed to be pope, and both had armies, allies, and followers. This wasn't fiction, it was the Great Western Schism, a real crisis that left the Church in chaos for nearly 30 years. We're diving into the conclave that triggered it all, the politics, the secrets, and the moment history split in half. For nearly 70 years, the Pope lived not in Rome, but in Avignon, France, a move that some still call the Babylonian captivity of the Church. This wasn't just about geography, it was about who truly controlled the Church, God or the kings of Europe. When Pope Clement V moved the papacy to Avignon in 1309, it was under the shadow of King Philip IV of France, a man known for executing the Knights Templar and manipulating church power for political gain. Some even say Clement V owed his papal seat to Philip. Was the Pope chosen or installed? In Avignon, 7 popes reigned, each one French. The papacy stayed there for nearly 70 years, losing Roman roots and angering Italian citizens. The Roman people grew furious. This long exile set the stage for a crisis of identity and loyalty. They watched their city fall into decay, while the Church's wealth and attention flowed into France. And here's where things heat up. Rome wanted its Pope back, but bringing the papacy home would spark a fire no one could control. If this shocked you, wait until you hear about the papal elections that were rigged by kings. Hit that like button if you want us to dive deeper. With Pope Gregory XI dead, Rome teetered on the brink. The cardinals, most of them French, gathered in the Vatican surrounded by angry crowds, demanding, "Give us a Roman Pope, or you won't leave alive." This conclave was the most pressured in church history. Cardinals feared for their lives. According to some accounts, they were nearly held hostage by the Roman mob. Roman mobs demanded a Roman pontiff, fearing the papacy would return to France. This wasn't divine selection, it was desperation. Urban VI was chosen not because of holiness, but because he was Italian and not French. Urban VI, a tough reformer with no prior cardinal experience, immediately started purging church corruption. But he did it brutally, mocking cardinals, accusing them of simony, even threatening them with torture. What happens when a spiritual leader rules like a tyrant? Imagine the Vatican today announcing 2 popes. That's exactly what happened next. Urban's opponents fled to Avignon and held a second conclave, claiming Urban's election was invalid. Their new pope? Robert of Geneva, aka Clement VII, who immediately set up a rival court in Avignon. Suddenly, Christians didn't know who to follow. 2 popes, both claiming divine authority, both excommunicating each other, both claiming the other was a fraud. They claimed coercion, but it was also about regaining control and prestige. It wasn't just a spiritual split, it became a geopolitical one. Entire nations were forced to choose sides, and the Church's soul was caught in the crossfire. Urban VI, Rome, backed by England, most of Italy, the Holy Roman Empire, and Flanders. Clement VII, Avignon, supported by France, Scotland, Spain, and Naples. Imagine if you were a devout Catholic in 1380. Do you follow the Pope your king supports, or the one you believe God chose? By 1409, a third pope joined the chaos, Alexander V, elected at the Council of Pisa. But instead of solving the problem, they now had 3 popes and no clear path to unity. Each pope saw himself as the true vicar of Christ. None would step down. For nearly a decade, Christianity's leadership was paralyzed. Faithful priests didn't know whose orders to follow. Parishioners were confused. Tithes went to rival cities. Diplomatic failures and factionalism deepened the chaos. At one point, a single city had 3 papal ambassadors delivering 3 different doctrines. Enter the Council of Constance, 1414 to 1418, a desperate last chance to restore unity. Over 4 years, the council negotiated, excommunicated, and finally forced resignations. One died, one ran, one stepped down. In 1417, a new pope, Martin V, was elected. The schism was over, but not everyone forgave or forgot. But unity would be short-lived. Just 100 years later, Martin Luther would nail 95 reasons the church was broken. Again. In the end, the church learned that power, spiritual or political, can't be divided without consequence. The Great Western Schism revealed a powerful truth. Even the holiest institutions can fracture under the weight of human ego. Faith is eternal, but power always finds a way to corrupt. And sometimes the greatest threats to unity come from within. If you want more untold history that changed the world in ways you never imagined, subscribe. And check out our next video. It's wild. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.